Middle school was not the best time for me personally. I was a very weird child, especially in middle school. This led to bullying and at times just made me not want to go to school at all. But hey, because of those negative experiences, I found anime. And while in middle school, I watched a ton of anime, and a lot of these shows took place in high school, believe it or not. We had Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star, Rosario Vampire. Hey, these people had some pretty cool high school experiences. Maybe life gets better in high school. Now, I didn't believe I was about to get a harem or anything like that, but watching all of this anime made me believe that maybe I could move past my current self. Maybe I could stop being so awkward. Maybe I could learn to believe in myself. And if there's no path laid before me, then I would carve one with my own hands. Just who the hell do you think I am? So yeah, obviously none of that ever happened. Anime wants you to believe that high school is something like this, or this, or this. Like it's some mystical, magical thing, but in reality, it's like this. This is Watamote. Or the full English name for the people in the back, no matter how you look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. Watamote is not only one of my favorite anime, but also one of my favorite manga. And usually when I say that, most people just kind of look at me funny and ask, wait, why? You see, this anime aired in 2013, and since the OVA that was released in 2014, there has been silence. It's been 7 years since anything has been released, and the studio that did the animation for it, Silverlink Studios, hasn't said anything about a season 2. Which is a borderline crime if you ask me. I think that the anime was amazing, but it was missing an important piece to the puzzle that another season could have solved. So today, I will tell you why I think that Watamote deserves a season 2. And now watch me proceed to dig way too deep into this comedy anime. If you don't already know about Watamote, it is a slice of life comedy about a girl named Tomoko Kuroki, who is about to enter her first year of high school. Tomoko has all of these expectations going into her first year. She wants to become popular and break out of her shell, but she doesn't really know how to interact with people. She is socially inept, she doesn't really know how to read social cues, and this causes her a lot of misfortune throughout the anime. There is also a lot of cringe humor throughout this show's run. Since Tomoko is so awkward but constantly tries to socialize and attempt to become popular, she will do and say things that just make your entire body tense. There have been multiple times where I've facepalmed so hard that I thought I was going to get a concussion. There was even a time where I tensed up so hard at what was going on my screen that I had to pause the anime, get up out of my chair, and shake out all of the cringe. So it's an anime about a shy girl who wants to make friends, and at the end she eventually does. I've seen this anime many times before, right? Wrong! Usually when you think of an anime like this, you think of an anime like Hitori Bochi. And in these anime, the main character will look like this. They look cute, they look adorable, and you think to yourself, why would someone not want to be friends with this person? So people will go out of their way to talk to this person who is so shy that they can't even form sentences. And eventually, they do make friends. But Watamote is nothing like this. The main character is not cute, she is not adorable, and I like that they did this. The girl who stays up all night playing video games and knows nothing about fashion is not going to look the best. She has these eternal bags under her eyes, unkept hair, and yes, Tomoko is very shy, but she is not a sweetheart like this type of character usually is. Because Tomoko is so shy that it is debilitating, she doesn't interact with many people. And this makes it so that most of the anime is spent alone with Tomoko in her own head. Because of this, she seems very raw and unfiltered. There are times when she hears students talking about how they are going to the karaoke bar again, and in her head she will say, "Oh my god, you sluts! You don't need to go to the karaoke bar 3 times in the same week." Tomoko is a very flawed character, which makes her feel genuine. People in real life are not typically going to act how Toru Honda from Fruits Basket would act. Nobody is that nice! But the reason that she lashes out like this in her head is because deep down, she wants to go to these events as well. But she isn't even able to simply say goodbye to one of her teachers as she is leaving school. So what chance does she have at getting invited? You see, most anime want you to believe that you might be the exception to the rule, which unfortunately most of the time is not true. These stories want you to believe that somebody will come along, talk to you, introduce you to a bunch of cool friends, or girls will just flock to you for seemingly no reason. But this is reality. So at this point you're probably wondering why I'm being so negative and why I even want Watamote to get a second season. And to that I say, stay with me, Jeffrey. Now the reason that we watch these types of stories is because usually you want to see the main character succeed. You want to see them become a better person, learn from their mistakes, and eventually make the friends that they have always wanted. But in season 1 of Watamote, that doesn't happen. You constantly see Tomoko get put in these rough situations where she just lacks the social awareness to communicate like a normal human being. And these situations are hilarious. Tomoko is a very funny character and it makes for a very entertaining anime. But at the end of season 1, you don't really feel like anything has changed, and that's because nothing really has. They really drill home the point that this isn't something that you can get over very easily. No one just develops a silver tongue overnight. Getting over social anxiety is something you have to constantly work at. So by the end of season 1, when she still hasn't made any friends, you feel like it's the biggest blue ball. Tomoko is freaking hilarious and nobody knows about it. So all of season 1, you are desperately waiting for that payoff, and it never comes. But there is an easy remedy for this. Just make a second season. Come on, Silverlink Studios. Because if we take a look a little bit ahead, then we will see that Tomoko does in fact make friends. But for that, we have to look at the manga. Eventually, Tomoko is put in a situation where she is forced to make a change. The class is going on a field trip, and for this trip, everyone needs to pick a group to be with, which is very hard for Tomoko, seeing as she never really talks to anyone. So she tries to leave class early, hoping that she would just be dumped in a group with other people who had also failed to find a group. But this backfires, and her teacher asks her to just pick her group before she leaves. Feeling embarrassed because she doesn't have anybody for a group in mind, she says that there must be some people that haven't found a group yet, so she would like to help those students out. The teacher likes her request and puts 3 other kids in her group who couldn't find one themselves, but also makes Tomoko the team leader. And in the beginning, everyone doesn't really want to talk to each other. They don't really care what they do on the school trip, but as they go sightseeing, they get into these funny situations. And slowly, they start to notice Tomoko's charm. Yeah, she is a little rough around the edges, but you know, deep down, like really deep down, she is a good person. And these people that went on the field trip with her start to see that. She ends up becoming friends with all of these characters, and they still hang out even after the field trip is over. You start seeing this big improvement from Tomoko. Before, she was doing these incredibly cringy things, she mumbled every word, and she was very awkward. She would do things like read manga in class, hoping that somebody would come up to her and ask about the manga she was reading. She left gummy snacks on her desk in hopes that people would ask for some and she would have a conversation. But we all know that that's not how life works. It's very rare for someone else to go out of their way to talk to you. So if you truly want to make something happen, then you have to take the initiative and do it yourself. That's why for me it was so easy to root for her, even though she acts the way she does. Because social anxiety is no joke, and even though this was supposed to be this comedy slice of life anime filled with gags, I still saw a lot of myself in Tomoko. Before, she seemed bitter because she was always a loner. She tried to justify it by acting like this was just how it was and that other students were sluts or assholes. In reality, all she wanted was to be accepted. And that's why I think it's so easy to resonate with Tomoko, because no matter what we say or how we act, deep down I think that's all we really want. But now she had these friends to help her along, and she even starts becoming a better person because of it. You really see this change come together during the end of her second year with the help of the student council president and valedictorian, Megumi. Megumi is someone that has always been very nice to Tomoko and looked out for her throughout the series. You even see some of this in the anime, and you see this touching hug in episode 11. And that is why when Megumi is graduating, Tomoko wants to say goodbye. And when she approaches Megumi, she does something odd. Megumi introduces herself. So Tomoko, not really knowing what to do, introduces herself as well. And Megumi is ecstatic, and she says that she thought she might not ever get to hear her finish her introduction. Tomoko realizes that she never actually finished introducing herself, and despite this, Megumi had looked after her throughout high school. Before they part, Megumi asks to hug her one more time. And of course Tomoko is confused by this because the first time Megumi was in a costume. They hug in the exact same fashion as the first time, and only after they part does Tomoko notice what she meant when she said one more time. After this moment, Tomoko realizes that she was never able to give anything back to Megumi for all that she had done. She grows the resolve to become the type of person who can do what Megumi did for her. It was one of my favorite moments, and after this moment the manga starts to kind of shift. Because you finally see Tomoko get the friends she always wanted. But not only does she get the friends she always wanted, everyone around her starts fighting for her attention, which is crazy. It turns into a borderline harem where a bunch of girls don't necessarily want to get with Tomoko, but they are all hell-bent on being one of her closest friends. which some people might think is a weird direction for this story to take. But what we have to remember is that this was a story about an awkward girl who wanted to make friends, and just because she went way too hard doesn't mean she didn't meet her goal. They asked her how many friends she wants, and she said all of them. This was always what I wanted to see though. This was the payoff that I wanted to see that you don't get from season 1. It's what I'd been waiting for, and I am willing to bet that I'm not alone in that. And that is why I believe that Watamote deserves a season 2. The awkward girl who was constantly stumbling through life and making these very cringy jokes, she finally finds her place. And it goes to show that if you want to make a change, then you can't just stand on the sidelines and wait for it to happen. You have to step up and make that change yourself. With a lot of hard work and maybe some luck, you can make that happen. Now, am I looking way too deep into a comedy manga? Probably. But if there is something that makes you want to make a positive change in yourself, even if it's a silly manga, then why not give it a try? So that is an anime that I believe really deserves another season. Let me know an anime that you think deserves a second season, and thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this entire video if you did. And just remember, you don't have to believe in yourself. Believe in me. Believe in the me that believes in you, and I'll see you in the next video.